really can't go. She has no dress to wear.
When I first met him in the Glastonbury in 94, 93 or something, it's like a fan, do you know what I mean? But now it's kind of gone on. Once you've had to throw someone out of your house a couple of times at 7 in the morning and, you know, nearly got in fights with them, that kind of thing ceases to exist anymore, and he's like, you know, you're kind of his mate, you know what I mean? And it's just like mates playing music to each other.
When I first met Paul, was on the War Child album. We're doing a track together, and it was a good session, you know, because there were a few guys there. There was Noel Gallagher was there as well, and my memory of it actually is liking Paul, knowing his history from the Jam and Style Council, and then hearing him play a bit of piano, and he was playing kind of country and western piano. I thought that was interesting. I mean, I don't know why I expected him to play, but anyway, he played a little bit of that. So it was a good session. I enjoyed it.
For me, it was, you know, when I first heard the Jam and I saw them on this DVD I bought, and the way he played guitar and his attack and his vocal and even his comes to his moves on stage, that was the thing that I was like, wow, that really had an impact on me. And then you delve into all his work and the different types of records he's made, and he's never afraid to sort of change as well over the years, which is something that is inspiring, you know, because I think change can be a good thing without forgetting you know who you are and stuff, but you shouldn't be afraid to sort of try things, and sometimes it will work and sometimes it won't, but that's something that encourages me, you know. Yeah.
It's all pop art, I guess, is what it is. He's constantly seeing what works and throwing stuff at a canvas and take that bit out, put that in there, and what if we do that, you know. I'm not sure he's the kind of dude that sits and strums the guitar anymore and writes a song in one go, which is why the stuff that he's doing over the last 3 or 4 albums has been amazingly interesting.
I mean, like me, he's looked for other ways to do his music. You know, originally was in the Jam, as everyone knows, and then he went to Style Council, changing the whole thing, a little bit like me, Beatles and then Wings. And then since, yeah, he's adapted into other ways of playing and other ways of getting his music across. So it is a bit similar to what I've done. I think the real reason is just that you love music, you know.
My favourite single from this period would be Echoes Round the Sun, and it's on the 22 Dreams record, and I do believe it was written with Noel Gallagher and Gem Archer, and it's just a really cool sort of song. I love the rhythm of it, I love the lyrics on it. There's kind of the sort of slightly sort of abstract, which is something that's quite hard to do really without you sounding weird, you know what I mean? But it's done perfect on that tune, and it's a song that I've played with Paul a couple of times live, and it's been very fun to play.
We'd always tried to write songs down the years, and maybe Oasis were working on something at the time, and I had a drum loop which was from the demo of Stop the Clocks, which was on my last solo record. I had this distorted drum loop, and I said, well, I've got this, let's try and write something around this. And he'd had it for about 3 weeks, and then I went down to the studio and he said, today was the day we were going to do it. And I said, so what have you done to the loop? He went, nothing. And I was like, well, not anything. He went, no, have you got anything? And I was like, no, I've been making a record. And so it was like fly by the seat of your pants stuff. I sat there with a bass, and he got on a xylophone. The demo to that is truly insane. And we messed around with the chords, and we got it together, and he sat at the back of the studio when we were putting down the backing track and was scribbling bits of lyrics down, and he got up and did one of his things. And then the great bit about that is the bit where it speeds up in the middle. Steve Cradock was there, and he just said, oh, can I do something on the drums for this bit? And we were like, yeah, go on. And he got in there and he did that bit where it speeds up, and it kind of really made the song, and it was a great joint effort, you know. And he he got strings on it and that, and that was it. The first song we ever wrote together. It was it's a funny old day. Yeah, it's got.
Paul would allow me to play anything really, and so Simon Dine that I would do. I'd end up playing drums or the bass or bits of guitar or percussion. It wasn't just sort of coming down as being a guitar player, and I make a nice cup of tea as well.
My favourite Weller gig from this period, probably on a selfish one, was the first time when we'd met and we'd done some writing, and he asked us to get up with him at the Roundhouse in London, and we played that song Echoes Round the Sun together, and it was the first time I'd ever got up on stage with him. So for me that was definitely enjoyable, and it was a little moment in my mind.
I get your feeling from the floorboards up. Call it to calling if you like that touch. Or call it what you will, I really don't care too much.
And he'd say that some nights when he does gigs, he could feel the energy rise from the floorboards up, And he said it to himself one night and wrote it down. There you go, great title for a song. And it was the first kind of song he'd written in a long time, which was 2.5 minutes long, and he was really excited about that. And he called me up and said, "You got to hear this track. I think it's only 2 minutes and 20 seconds." And I instantly liked the title, and when I heard it, that was like, wow, that's gone back full circle to almost In the City kind of thing, And it was urgent. When you hear it, it's like really should have been written by somebody 20 years younger, do you know what I mean? And that, I think, seemed to set off something in him. It's brilliant, and when you see him play it live, it's amazing. It's great to see all the fat skinheads bopping up and down to it. I find it highly amusing.
He's got a great vocal live, I think, which I don't think is mentioned that much really. I think he's got a really powerful voice and a really emotive voice. And also I think his nerves send him to a place that makes it very intense.
I guess for many people to have two greatest hits of, how many years is it? 30 years or something. To sort of do that is an achievement for sure. You know what I mean? To have a career that long and so constant and have great songs that last for so long is unreal, really.
Difficult to say what makes a great artist, but I think there has to be a love of music involved, and then I think you've got to be good at it. You've got to know what you're doing. You've got to be able to play your instrument. You've got to be able to sing. And in his case, in my case, you've got to be able to write. I think once you get that all together, I think that can make you into a great artist,
First time that me and Paul met properly was it was at this radio thing about 3 years ago. And I've been referencing a French singer called Jacques Dutronc, who's a sharp sort of mod and from the 60s. And his early stuff's really cool. It's sort of, quite sort of garagey, quite moddy. He come over to me and had this book on sort of men's fashion from the 60s. He says, "Oh, you really like this singer, don't you?" And he sort of knew that I was into him, and I was like, "Wow, how'd you know that?" And he's like, "Oh, no." And that was our sort of little bond, really, I guess, and it sort of broke the ice.
It was obvious from the beginning that he liked the kind of 60s dress. I was very influenced by that growing up. In fact, on the first session we did together, a couple of the guys on that session were saying, the big question they had for me was, "Have you kept your clothes from the 60s? I was going, "Yeah, I've got some of them. Can we see them?" It was that influential for them. So, I think it's cool, to like dressing cool. I like it. Like to dig the crazy shirt. But he likes it. It's something you can see. He likes the look. But for me, as I say, the fact that it came from the Beatles, the mod look in the 60s, is a tribute. That it doesn't go unnoticed.
Any anecdotes? Honestly, I love the guy so much. I haven't got any for you because they're all insane. I've seen him take his clothes off and give them to people in the street. I've seen a kid come up to him once and say, "Pull outside ours." I really like that shirt. And he just took it off and gave it him. And then sat in the pub topless. Yep. They sat in the pub topless for the rest of the day. And I've known him for such a long time, and I've been in such different tour buses with him, and on tour with him, and he's been on tour with us, and you know, he played on Morning Glory and all that. We've been doing it for a long time. Well, there's never been any like, oh wow, there's Paul Weller. You know, it's like he's been over 20 years now. You know what I mean? So all that. No, it's just me, mate. Not just me, mate, but he's.
He's so sick of the money.